So I did get my moose last night. Had a mother and a calf that were knocking around, and then when I came out, took off that way. I did have a pair of guys come by after dark, probably headed for the shelter. Other than that, it has been nice and quiet out here. I pulled the fly over because I was worried that I might have dew on everything, but honestly, I think the only condensation came from my breath inside the tent. Normally, I'm kind of reluctant to get out of my tent before I have to, but this is just too pretty, even if it's a little bit of a bog. That's a beaver dam that's generally holding this back. So I'm maybe 2-3 hours max away from the Massachusetts border, end of the Long Trail. A little while after that, I'll be into North Dalton. That's maybe at the 10-mile mark. I'm gonna make a small side trip, maybe get a deli sandwich, see if I can get something other than mashed potatoes for dinner. And then theoretically, I will make it to Dalton the following day. This is kind of the part when I was planning where I was wondering, well, when I get here, am I just gonna wanna, be done and on to the Bent Mackay? Should I exit at North Adams and then just figure out how to get a rental car, get a shuttle or something? But at least for the moment after yesterday, I'm pretty content. It was nice. The terrain started to feel different after quite a while of just feeling lost in the same sort of woods. So hopefully that continues. Plus, I remember Greylock being kind of cool. Somebody's bloody dog has been bellowing in the area, so I'm giving up on seeing anything else cool here. And time to head for the border. I wish I'd been able to get a little better footage of them last night, but it was so cool seeing those moose. The shelter here, which is the relocated one, got middling reviews, but privy was highly spoken of. We'll say they've gotten fancier the further south I've come. I think this was built by the same people that designed that bathroom stall with the uncomfortably wide openings. So here's the shelter that has inspired all the belly aching on far out comments. There's even some less than great individuals staying at the old site despite the requests to revegetate. Seems like there's a little bit of a bubble around. So lots of night one on the Long Trail sign-ins there. I guess this would make a easy day if you came in from North Adams and just made it up and over here. Apparently the FKT people have a bit of a challenge because there's not a lot of good camping spots right at the border. And I say that based on far out comments because, I don't know, I've never found FKT stuff that interesting. It's impressive and all, but okay, yeah, some such person beat the record by, however long. Okay. I wish there were more trail news sources that reported on things other than that. So I've officially switched over to the Appalachian Trail far out map from the Long Trail. The Long Trail far out set ends basically at the border, and then there's a Blue Blaze Trail down to North Adams. I still have the Appalachian Trail far out from 2021. Basically, once you buy it, you have it for life, and it keeps getting updates. And so I consider far out one of the better uses of money when it comes to thru hiking. Main thing I get out of it, other than comment entertainment from drama and people who are obviously afraid to step foot out the doors, is water source reports when it gets dry like it has been. And that's how I track my mileage. Trying to do a GPS track with my watch, with my standalone GPS, anything like that, it's just too much of a pain. I'm always forgetting to start the watch. It's another thing to charge. And it's just not that accurate. I have had a friend of mine with the exact same GPS basically in lockstep with me. And there's like a 10 or 15% difference. Sometimes the gain will be off wildly. Garmin does fix some of that. It actually post-processes the GPS track and like simplifies it and removes some of the outliers, but it's just fundamental to how it works. The 10 or 15% number actually came from somebody in Sierra Club who a number of years ago was doing a test with a click wheel and a GPS device, and that was what they found. It is kind of amusing. There's been somebody in the comments down here who must have got a new Apple Watch or something, because they've been complaining about how the far out is way off. It said something was 1.9 miles. It was 2.2. That last 0.3 was a butt kicker for him. Yeah. Stuff like that. So far out makes it a lot easier. I just basically get the mileage where I camp every day, put that in a spreadsheet, and the gain doesn't really matter. When I'm day hiking, yeah, I like to look at the gain just because it helps me kind of gauge how I'm doing, when I'm getting warmed up. But out here, 1,000-foot climb, 2,000-foot climb, trail goes up, trail goes down. You notice it obviously, but it becomes less of a big deal. So today, after North Dalton and hopefully my grocery store snack stop, I have Mount Greylock. That's that thing with the big lit up tower Jen and I crossed in the dark last year. Met some folks who were doing some substances who were quite upset they couldn't share any with us as trail magic. I think the summit is 15.9 from where I camped, so if things go well, theoretically I will make it up and over. I feel like we camped kind of high on it on this side when we came through in 21, but just playing it by ear. Rough plan at the moment would be Dalton tomorrow. I am a little concerned because I remember Dalton being a good trail stop. I think there may have been multiple Daltons and this might be the not so good one. Either that or the hotel there has been hit by a rash of through hiker entitlement syndrome. One of the comments was complaining that the room was a whole $91, and it's like, have fun in Vermont, buddy. Spend twice that. I won't know any sort of arrival time in Dalton, probably till tomorrow sometime. Kind of depends how Greylock goes, but I was going to ping Jen and see what she thinks the options are there. I am going to get a rental car if they're open late enough / I'm early enough. I guess I could grab that and drive myself to a better / cheaper hotel, but we'll see. It'll work out one way or another. The drive down to the Bent Mackay is going to be a long one, so I'm figuring I'll get the rental car for 2 days. That'll let me do a pit stop at an Apple store or two and replace my filter, and also make sure I have a resupply ready to go. Other than that badly behaved dog guy, I have really enjoyed this section since coming across Route 9. It's felt a little different. I guess maybe the vegetation was different. Harmon Hill was just kind of really peaceful and actually had views, which I appreciate. I think the previous day or two I was just lost in the trees like this. The hard part today is going to be just not staring at the map the entire time, counting down the miles until the grocery store in Dalton. Those guys were camped under the power lines, which I never really want to do, but they had as good of a camp as I did. They had a nice view down the hill. They're just out here for a couple of days, but they said I was the 8th southbounder they've seen. So kind of as expected, there are more people out here than I see we're just all kind of moving in the same direction at ish the same pace. 2 people in headlamps passed me after dark last night. But beyond that, I don't remember when the last actual southbounder LT person I saw. Pulpit Rock, I did see that AT southbounder, and then never saw him again. There's another section through here that a bunch of northbounders got stung at. I just passed it. I went through the bushes. I didn't see anything, but I guess it's a good thing I got those EpiPens just in case, huh? And yeah. That seems to be a thing a lot of people get into. I think it's the rock garden, presumably. People get a little worked up about small patches of rocks sometimes. I did hear it was coming south. Huh. That guy was southbound on the Appalachian Trail. He did north to Harper's, flipped to Katahdin, and now he's headed south. First person I've run into going my way. I've really been able to talk to for a few minutes. I am only a couple of miles from North Adams. However, every water source on trail since the beaver pond has been dry, so I haven't been able to chug it all this morning. I'm still running off my coffee and dregs. So there is what is labeled as artisanal spring up ahead. I think I'm going to stop there, get a few liters into me rather than try and stretch to go into town. I have a bad habit of, if I do stuff like that, kind of getting behind on how much water I'm drinking and just not feeling as strong or as good. There's actually kind of a little pod of AT folks around here, I guess. One guy is actually finishing today down in North Adams. The AT people do tend to get creative, starting from one spot and then going back there, so good for him. Part of me is a little worried about getting enough miles in to get up and over Greylock. I don't know how involved the climb there is going to be, and I need to basically make it up and over, at least by a little bit, if I'm going to make Dalton tomorrow, I think. So part of me is like, maybe I should skip that little grocery store, but it shouldn't take that long. And I could really use a deli sandwich or two. I have been exceeding my daily mileage by enough that I do have enough snacks to stretch it another day. I have a dinner I am very much not looking forward to tonight. Another plain mashed potato, but, you know, can manage it for a day. Okay, I guess that is the artisanal spring. I filled up out of the creek, so I'm good to go. I didn't spend much time at the actual sign. I basically grabbed a picture and then went on at the end of the long trail just because there was somebody there and I started talking. But also it always feels a little bit anticlimactic. Even when I finished something big like the CDT, it was just kind of like, yeah, okay. And ones like this are a little silly because I get it. It's the long trail is state border to state border. But that 271 miles, basically it's kind of like the JMT, which theoretically ends up at the top of Whitney. So you have to add another 11 miles or whatever it is to the total, unless you plan to just get dropped off by a helicopter. So in actuality, the mileage would be 271 plus the couple of miles of Journey's End plus whatever this 5 mile or a couple of mile descent is down to North Adams. So it looked like that store was close to trail. Looks like it's about a half mile off, which not that big a deal, but not worth hitching though. I might have gone a little overboard, but you know, I gotta justify the fact that I came an extra mile out here. Okay, quick-ish and efficient-ish. I calorie loaded, and while I wasn't able to find beans or anything that looked reasonable for dinner, I choose to consider that my dinner is actually a brick of Cabot extra sharp white with a side of mashed potatoes, not mashed potatoes, so that'll work. So, half mile back to trail, and then up Greylock, which is going to be a big climb. That is different. One way to look at it is I just have one more hill today. It's like a 5 mile hill that's 3,000 plus feet or something like that, but it's downhill after that. Here's hoping I don't regret my little town delay too much. That is actually really cool. I don't need anything, but it's awesome when people are nice. The one thing I was kind of hoping to find that I didn't was a water fountain. I think I have enough. It's only 4 or 5 miles, but up top I'm dependent on a spigot versus any sort of flowing source. Sources have been, once again, drier than expected. Good news though, the climb's just 2,900 feet. Piece of cake for early evening, right? Those other folks that were AT were all jumping off trail. Combination of being done and just wanting to break. Okay, a little under 6 miles, 2,900 feet. Just ran into some guys coming down. They said this was the only water they'd seen. Not ideal, but I can make something work. Oh, that's sad. Jen loves those guys. Good times. Okay, it took me 2 hours to get this far. It is most of the gain, but somehow I don't think I'm making it to the top before dark. Damn it, I'm feeling like a wimp. Six o'clock. Still 1.8 from Greylock Summit, so I'm going to be up there in the dark. Sounds like there are bathrooms and faucets, so I can fill up and try and get down the far side. I am 18 miles from Dalton, so ideally I'd make it another mile down the far side. I think I'm just going to have to start early in the morning, though. I got things to do when I get into town, get a ride. Hotel is a fair distance away, so that might be problematic if I get there after dark. That bloody hurt. I've been running around trying to find the drinking water before it got too late, but seem to have found it. Okay, kind of a quick pass through from the memorial. Oh, I might have hung around there a little longer, but they were locking stuff up and I needed to find the water. So I am a little under 17 miles from Dalton, so I've at least gotten over the hump. It is largely downhill until Cheshire, and then there's one other little mountain range. Like I said, I would have hung around the memorial a little longer. One of the maintenance guys there, he did point me at the water, but he was a little too interested in where I was staying for the night, so I really need to clear out of here. I mean, this is a big monument, so I'd have to drop down a ways anyway. Seemed like on the other side there were plenty of dispersed sites. I feel like we might have camped on the descent last time, but this side it sounds like there's a parking lot and some other stuff, so we'll see. Fortunately, I was able to charge my headlamp up last night. Well, this is sucking. Terrain seemed promising, but so far the usable spots I found have all had fresh critter dens in it, and I don't think it's a good idea to set up right on top of them. Okay, finally found something bloody usable. It wasn't a new critter dug home or directly under deadfall, which is another problem here. Okay, this will work. Fun day. Felt like a long day. That climb up Greylock kind of kicked the crap out of me, but kind of fun to finish the, or kind of fun to celebrate finishing one trail by coming in and climbing the state high point, like right up the next pass. So tomorrow I'm going to make for Dalton. I'm 15 miles out, so probably very minimal editing and coffee in the morning and just make a run for it. Home sweet home.